everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome in. And we are going to be doing our Leo full moon burn ritual. So I'm very excited today. So first off, let me go ahead and have everybody say hello. There's Sari.
Hello.
And there's Morgan. And we have Wendy and Ron together in Colorado. So we have a dynamic duo all together. So I think it's a beautiful time for us to celebrate this whole weekend. We will actually have the full moon perfect on Sunday, February 1st. So a full moon on the very first day of a month. So very interesting energy going on. And I also want to remind everyone that if you have not gotten it yet, we want you to have a pen and paper and something to light it with and water to put it out. So those are the main things, because we will give you ideas as to what we're going to be releasing with this full moon in Leo. And that can be a lot about even childhood traumas, inner wounds, because Leo is very much about that inner child energy and the different experiences that we've had in life. So again, pen, paper is probably the most necessary thing. And if you don't have a way to have a candle or anything to light that, that's perfectly fine, because we usually tear some of that up. And what we will do is we'll go ahead and start with the clearing. So I'm going to turn it over to Ron to go ahead and do the clearing for us. Go ahead, Ron. You're on mute.
Oh, okay. Start all over, you said. Okay. So let's begin by finding a comfortable position. Place one hand on your heart and one hand on your solar plexus. Gently close your eyes. Take a slow, deep breath in through your nose and exhale fully through your mouth, which with each breath, allow your body to soften. Now imagine the full moon glowing above you, radiant, warm, and golden. Its light begins to pour down around you like a soft halo, surrounding your body in a cocoon of safety and love. Feel this lunar light anchoring into your heart space. Bring your awareness to your inner child, the younger version of you who long to be understood, protected, and celebrated. See this child standing within the moonlight, wrapped in a golden light. As you breathe, silently or loud, repeat, I release emotional patterns rooted in fear, abandonment, and self-doubt. I release the need to perform, please, or prove my worth. I release suppressed emotions that no longer serve my highest good. I release inherited family wounds carried through the heart. Visualize these energies gently dissolving into the moonlight, neutralized, transmuted, and returned to source. There is no effort required. Simply allow. Now invite new energy into your field. See the golden light intensify around your inner child as a white dove appears, symbolizing peace, safety, and divine reassurance. As the dove rests nearby, affirm, I choose emotional safety within myself. I lead my life from the wisdom of my heart. I am worthy of love, joy, and authentic expression. My inner child is protected, honored, and at peace. Feel this energy anchoring deeply into your heart and solar plexus, restoring confidence, warmth, and trust. Take one final deep breath, gently grounding this clearing into your body. When you're ready, slowly open your eyes, carrying this peace forward. And now on to you, Dawn.
Thank you very, very much. And I am very excited. I've been nerding out about the astrology of this. So I'm going to bring up the chart. Let me go ahead and add that to stage. It worked before. Oh, remove that. Okay, now add that. Yes, there we go. Hello. Okay, I am going to make things a little bit bigger for all of us. And what I want to point out, especially about this, which is, it's actually tomorrow, February 1st at 4:09, so it'd be 5:09 p.m. Eastern, that this actually comes to perfection. And it's at 13:04 in Leo, in the sign of sovereignty and being in control of our own decisions. So we do have, very interestingly, on the sun at 13:04, there is also Atlantis, which was pointed out by another astrologer on a different channel. And then a couple weeks ago, I came across Vulcan that kind of popped in, and that is also at 13:04 exactly. And one of the other things I wanted to remind everybody was that when we had the 6 months ago new moon in Leo, there was an earthquake in Russia that was like over 8 on the Richter scale. And the interesting thing about that, it was just offshore, it was in the water, but they documented, I think, 0 loss of life with this earthquake. It was in such an area that it really didn't affect any populations. So with that going forward, and the fact that we do have a very strong indication of earthquakes coming up, especially with Uranus going direct next week and moving into Gemini, which will also be something that will be opposite of some of the other energies that may create those things for us in the future. But the Earth is going through a birthing process, and again, it was like over 8 points on the Richter scale, and it was 0 loss of life. So just because we're having earthquakes, which are not unusual to have earthquakes, doesn't mean that it's going to be a huge concern necessarily. We always seem to experience tsunamis and different things at different times of the years. But the signature going forward is about this release that's going on. And we do have this release with Leo happening in a fire sign right before we go into the big Aquarius eclipse that's going to be happening on the 17th of February. So the interesting things that are going to be coming forward with that is that will be at 28 degrees and talking with other things in the chart, but it's a new opening. It's going to be what's happening for us as a collective. So I feel like this full moon is allowing us to release any of those old energies before we start all of this brand new energy coming up and walking into that new world kind of energy. We do have Saturn on Valentine's Day will be going into Aries, so it will meet up with Neptune at that time. And then on the 20th, right in between the two eclipses, right after the first Aquarius eclipse, We will have Neptune and Saturn meet and be perfected at, I believe the degree is 0.43. And that sets off, the conjunction happens every, I believe, 36 to 38 years. So it's been a while since we've had this, but it's never been at 0 degrees of Aries, the very, very first degree of the zodiac. So something brand new starting in. And in order for new things to start, we do have to release the old things. We have to make room for them as we're moving forward. So I want everyone to be aware of those kind of energies going forward, that there's things that we don't need to take with us. Painful past childhood memories, things that might be a blockage to us for new relationships. So really think about those things and what you might want to consider releasing as part of this Leo full moon energy. And it is a fire sign. It is about purging energy. And Leo is actually the sign of like a campfire. Aries is the spark. And Leo is, that solid, fixed campfire energy is what I would say. So really think about along those lines of what you personally are releasing in regards to your soul contracts with other people is probably the most effective thing for you to have moving forward. And also, and I loved that this came out in the clearing, is releasing fear, releasing abandonment, and releasing self-doubt. So I think that those are things that we should all be aspiring to, because no one can really say what's going to be coming because it's a brand new thing. So we can't even imagine, because we're basing what we can imagine on what we've experienced in the past. So you have to be open and you have to be willing to go with the flow, but we do need to have this release so we can make room for the new to come in. So that is basically the astrology that I really wanted to cover for this. And let me move this back out. So if anybody had any question, I'm certainly glad to answer any question. Anybody? No, we're good. Okay. Then I will go ahead and turn it over to Sari, who will have a card to start drawing cards for the collective.
All right. Thank you, Dawn. And I pulled from the Inner Child, Healing the Inner Child deck, and we were asking the question for the collective, what does this full moon mean to us? And I pulled just a really beautiful card. I've never pulled this before, and it's called Soul Retrieval. And as I do work in the Akasha, actually, I do sometimes work around retrieving part of the soul that's either been lost to trauma or been lost in a relationship. But I'm going to read this because it's really important. It says, this card invites you to reclaim one of your exiled parts. When a trauma happens, we might send parts of ourselves away into our unconsciousness for safekeeping, too afraid to let it be hurt again. In psychology, this is called disassociation. In indigenous teachings, historically, it was called the loss of the soul. This disassociation or soul loss serves its purpose in the short term, but it can drain our life force and keep us trapped in the suffering of that experience. And that's why oftentimes past life traumas continue to cycle back around until we can actually clear that part of the soul that was left behind. These soul parts wait for us to reclaim them. This is the work of soul retrieval. We must journey in time to retrieve these lost parts, invite them back, and integrate them. We might invite a shamanic or energy practitioner to retrieve this soul part for us, or we do this ourselves through visualization while we're sleeping or in our dream state. So some of us are healing a lot of deep ancestral past life things that took pieces of our soul or hid pieces of our soul that we needed to reclaim. And I think this is part of the energy, Dawn, that's being cleared right now, because many of you have been doing the work and maybe you haven't seen the results. But what I keep being shown is that it's all working, we're all releasing, and don't Be afraid of the fear monster. I pulled that card on the live the other day. Don't be afraid of the fear monster, because you've got the strength in this Leo season to look it straight on and to heal it. And it's time. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Wendy for another collective message.
All right. So yeah, I pulled a card from the Enchanted Map Oracle. And of course, I got strength. Leo in and of itself, the 44 card. So very much with, having the strength to do the work, right? Because you've got that 4 force, an 8 as well. It's also very grounded. I was saying before we came on that, I'm a Virgo and Ron's Taurus for our sun sign. So a lot of earth energy to help Leo get that kind of grounded energy, right? So this says the strength to accomplish even the most daunting tasks is yours at this time. I can feel that. I don't know if you can, but I can definitely feel that. You can connect with and channel the power of the universe. The strength card indicates that your ideas are being tested and refined, and your relationships are being deepened. No matter what happens, nothing can move you off the course of evolution. As the potency of your connections becomes more obvious, you're able to harness the creative energies that are available to you. Have courage and dive in, for magic is in the process of finding a form to take. When you remember that real strength comes from a combination of your efforts and resilience on a higher power working through you, all is possible. You can do anything now. And that's a big part of what we talk about with the releasing and making room to allow what needs to come in, to do that work, so that you are not actively creating your own block and keeping it from being able to move forward. So really important to have this release with this full moon. And let's see what's wrong. What Ron's got. Come on, Ron.
You're going to pass it this way?
I'm going to pass it to you.
I pulled from the Talisman Oracle deck, and the card I pulled, which everyone should be thrilled about, is success. Holy cow. There we go. So you have planted the seeds of success. I'll hold the card.
I can hold it if
Can
you
you? Okay. I got help here. Okay. You have planted the seeds of success, and the stars are in your favor, gently guarding your way forward. Trust that through storms and heavy rain, this seed will grow and prosper. Forget the feelings of doubt. You're about to achieve significant accomplishments, and it's been you alone who has done all the work. This is well-deserved success, and when the victory comes, it cannot be taken away. So enjoy. That's a good reading for you all.
Right,
And I'm passing it to Morgan. I knew that.
Thanks. Thanks so much, Ron and Wendy. That's lovely. Okay, so I pulled a card from the Path of the Soul Destiny cards, this intuitive fractal art. And the first card that came out was a 35 card, and it says the Royal Order. Okay. And when I first looked at this card, I just felt like that full moon energy of the white. It was just like this, like expansive energy. And it felt this is called the snow silvery moon, I think. And it just felt very fresh and very clear. And then they started to talk about pineapple, spinach, and ginger smoothies. So I feel like clearing out the physical vessel. Okay. And then I heard a lot about doing breath work. So if you're really into breath work, or just breathe, just remember to take a deep breath in, right? This says the Royal Order. We play important roles in each other's lives. We aid each other on the journey to oneness and ascension. Before we can play an integral role in helping others, we first have to take care of ourselves. The Royal Order is about keeping within the divine order of life. Be sure to care for this physical vessel that is you. It needs to run and function properly. You have an important part to play in the lives of others, so make sure that you can take care of yourself first. And then there was like another, I'm going to try to keep this short because they came up with a lot of messages with this card. they said that, like, here I'm seeing a peacock feather, okay? So they said be really careful when success comes in to like easy does it. And I see this peacock feather, and it was almost like they were showing me like pull back any tendency to want to like be very like loud and boastful about this. Okay. So just like pull that back. The other thing they said is they brought me to this morning. I actually did my own little salt ritual, which I found a video on YouTube, which was very helpful. It calls for 6 pennies. You place them heads up in the yang position. This is salt, okay? And this is a glass cup. So then they tell you to put the pennies on top of the salt, pour the water in, and place it somewhere in your room or in your home to clear the space. And this starts to create a crystal on this. And you're supposed to leave this in your home for 1 year. It starts to crystallize, okay? And after 1 year, you just toss it in the garbage, okay? Or like out, you discard of it. So I practice this kind of salt cleansing ritual for my home. It's a feng shui tip. And why? It's because they want you to clear out the muck of going round and round in the same cycles and to clear out any stuck energy that's going on in your life. Okay. So I hope that helps. And with that, I'm going to pass it on to Dawn.
Hello, and back again. So what we will go ahead and do is I do have little extra things. So if you like a little bit more to the ritual, I will just touch on a few things that I like to do and that you can incorporate. One of the first things, just because I like to focus before I actually light the candle, is I usually have some spray, and this happens to be Florida water. So I recommend that you use anything that may be kind of a perfume or a smell that you enjoy, or even a scented candle as well. But I like it because for me, it focuses. This Florida water to me is a combination of feminine and masculine energy, because really it doesn't smell like a perfume, but it doesn't, have a aftershave smell to it either. It's just this beautiful scent. So I really like it to focus in on just an extra way to focus in on what's going on. And I do also have, I know a lot of people love our crystals. So this is a carnelian. Yes. So we do have the opportunity when we release things, and we also send intentions, we can use the crystals to help us with that, and also as protection. So I always like to have crystals nearby me, and depending upon what people like as far as their personal choices for crystals, everybody gets drawn to certain things, and you should go with what intuitively feels right to you. And it will make sense and you can, like amethysts. Amethysts are just they're everything, right? They're not expensive. They are protective. They increase your intuition. And they, from my understanding, have gotten stronger and stronger recently, and will continue to be imbued with more and more power. So those are very beautiful pieces to get. So incorporating, the scent of the Florida water, the earth of the whatever crystal that you would like to use. And for me, I also like to incorporate, the air with sound. So I will utilize my little bowl here, and we will get our sound going. And what I find is that is very much a clearing energy. I do also have little bells that I like. All right. So we are getting ready to light our candle. So whatever you have as a candle for your choice, you can go ahead, and we will ask the archangels to enter in with us. Archangel Michael for protection, Archangel Sandalphon for the joy of Leo and dance, Archangel Raphael for the joy of healing, and Archangel Uriel, because I feel that is the strong Aquarius energy that we are feeling now coming forward. So I'm actually lighting 3 candles because I feel like it. Oops. Did you see my torch for a second? And I did, and so far so good. I haven't burned myself thus far, but the hour is young. So with that energy, let's bring in the idea of what Leo is and what we can be releasing. I do always kind of cheat and go back to my new moon book, just because it kind of gives you the idea of some of the things that Leo stands for. And as far as the body, it's the back and spine, heat exhaustion, very much heart-related, heart-centered energy, so much so, heart chakra. So whatever that you want to release to help your heart chakra is very, very important. And also any kind of inflammation throughout the body. It's very related to the vascular system. So also Leo, often we associate it with pride and arrogance and self-centeredness, but we miss the beautiful things that Leo has to bring in, which is the creativity, the great heart that Leos have, and the ability for them to be in that childlike energy. It is the joyfulness of being a child that Leo really brings out in people. So wherever you might have Leo in your chart, you can find that you probably utilize that energy in that area of your life. And to open that up more and not have the blockages that go along with that. I also want to say that it definitely rules romance and intense love in children, that energy of bringing the inner child back in. Not everyone has children in their life, but it's one of those things where you can nourish your own inner child and really bring that forward. And the fact that it releases fear, it gives you strength. I mean, all of the cards had their own special messages as to what we can bring out. The fear of stepping up and of being true to your own self. So I think that is part of some of the energies that we have that we can incorporate with this energy. And one of the things I did is I wrote down some of the things that I'm going to be releasing, because I like to share those before we go onward, to give you some ideas of what Leo can be for you in particular. I am a sovereign being, and I want to release how I placed it was, I want to release any past karmic narcissistic relationships that have affected me. I grew up with an alcoholic father, so that was a big part of how my relationships were formed. And it is important that I learn how to release that energy and don't base my future relationships on that kind of what I was taught, because what you're taught as a child is normal to you. That's your normal. But it was your coping mechanism. So releasing that energy of how you may have grown up and been felt under control of someone else's decisions, and very, very much Pluto in Virgo kind of energy that we're releasing as a collective, and opening up, releasing any blocks to creativity. Leo is just so creative if we allow that to be open. And part of that is releasing the fear of what other people are going to think about what we create. It's very hard sometimes to grow when we're afraid, oh, well, what if people know that I'm reading tarot on YouTube? Oh my goodness. And it's that ability to understand that not everyone is going to agree with your decisions, but you need to be open with yourself as to what really is important in your own life. Also, to release drama. That is really, really hard when you are I have a sister who I love very dearly. She has a Leo moon, and Leos have a tendency to feel things very big. Their feelings are very big. You don't have to guess what they're thinking. very big energies. And I jokingly and refer to her, okay, we'll get our drama done with, and then we can work on solving the problem. But it's that energy of, okay, do I really need this drama right now? Do I really need to be a part of this drama right now? And a lot of times it's like, okay, I need to step out of that drama. Again, we are getting that energy of stepping back and being observers in what's going on around us. And if you are called to do something, the universe will put that in front of you. That's what I say. The universe will always put in front of you what you are called to do. So also for me, it's releasing procrastination, making excuses not to do something because I'm afraid, right? It's the idea of, okay, well, maybe if I wait for this to happen before I do this, maybe I want this to happen before that can happen. And really take Leo and make it your strength, make it what comes out, make it no fear. Or sometimes with my Mars in the first house, it's feel fear and do it anyway. So that's what I would say is probably the best advice I can give anybody is a lot of times you'll feel fear. You'll always feel that little bit of hesitancy before you like jump into the pool. And I think that that's a normal thing. But once you do it and then you get a chance to, just like the example of jumping in a pool, it takes you very little time to acclimate. Once you get in, you get the shock at first, and then it's like, oh, the body acclimates. And then it's not a big deal. It's like, oh, okay, this is fine. Why was I so fearful about doing it? So that is part of that energy as well. And really, at this time, before we step into this big energy of the eclipses that are coming, it's the inner child wounds that we experience as we grow up. It's part of our life that, our childhood memories are very important. And oftentimes when we were in not the greatest situations, we still have good memories as children, because that's just how children roll. They have this ability to I don't know if endure is the right word, but I do believe it's to make the most out of any situation that they can, and move forward and be just undaunted in their ability to take life as it comes. So there's a lot of fear of abandonment that some people have that comes in from childhood. And we are all really connecting at a heart level, that very Leo level, with the heart chakra. So I want people to realize that right now, a lot of us are getting connected with people that are our own vibrational level and becoming more involved in groups, that it's very beautiful in the way that we can communicate with each other. And that is almost your new tribe energy. And you can be involved in a lot of groups that are like that. But it's understanding that that's going to be your community and what you're going to be doing in the future. This is very much a part of the astrology that's going forward, is that we're going to be much more community-based and open and friendly and helping each other as we move forward in whatever this new thing that is going to be coming in is going to be for us. So heart connection, being open with heart connection. And I think with that and the vibrational level that we have, a lot of relationships are ending. I think just because we're not a vibrational match for certain things anymore, and that's okay. What is happening is that it's creating room for bigger and better things to come in. And I think it's very true about what we're going to be experiencing in the future. I get the strong feeling that it's going to be, again, creating our own unique groups and tribes. And then once we're in those, then we're going to actually be meeting more and more people that we have special tasks to complete with. We have things that we're going to be doing together in the future as part of what our purpose is. This is coming up on the times that our greatest purpose is going to be revealed. And I think the astrology is going to open up for a lot of people what is going to be coming for them as we move through all this energy of definitely the next 9 months. So with that, I do want to also point out that the star card that came out is very much reminded me of Aquarius, and that we're going to be having this Aquarius eclipse, and that Aquarius star is like a wish granted, like when you wish upon a star, right? So with that energy, make sure that you clear everything out now, because we have this energy of Aquarius coming in, this all brand new energy for everyone. So with that, I hope everybody's had a chance to write down what they feel that they may want to release. And you are allowed to use bad words, and you are allowed to have more than one sheet of paper. I think Morgan said she was making a list all week long. And so I want everyone to be aware that this is something that this full moon is actually going to remain activated until Tuesday. So even if you don't get a chance to do it with us right when we are doing the live, you can actually in the future be a part of this quantum energy and do this release when it's more convenient for you to do it with your time. So with that, I do have our sheet of paper, my sheet of paper. I only have one, but I have multiple things written on it. So I am going to fold it a bit, and I am actually going to put it up next to my heart, because we are going to take a little bit of a journey, and I am going to put up that slide, because I do want us to take just a little bit of a mind journey as we go through and release this information. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. There, okay. So I want you to close your eyes and just take a nice deep breath in and slowly release. And again, breathe in. And slowly release. And one more. Slow, deep breath in. And slowly release. I want you to picture yourself on that hill with the lion by your side and the sword in your hand. And this is the energy that we are getting of the spiritual warrior. This is Neptune in Aries. This is listening to our higher self, incorporated in with our body. This is the energy of bravery, of heart space. We want to go to our sacred fire. So we move down off of this hill into a glen below, where we see burning brightly a large fire with people starting to gather around. The moon is so bright outside. So much is shining back in reflection onto the earth. And very near the moon, you can see a very bright star. This is Jupiter that you're seeing, that is in the night sky now. About learning, about higher philosophies, about possibilities and inner beliefs. We gather around this fire and form circles. And as we look upon the fire of this Leo moon, a fire sign, we realize that we can release much into this fire and open up our heart chakra to an even greater degree. So I want you to have the paper that you placed on your heart held close with your hands over it. And I want you to pour your emotions of pain that you've experienced in the past, especially from childhood, especially from experiences that you've had with others that may have unintentionally hurt you. Pour into it any fear that you may have of not being good enough, and also the fear of being abandoned. You are with your own tribe now. You are going to be joining others in a tribe. You're creating space for the new to come in and releasing what no longer is part of your vibration. The emotion can be poured into the paper to make more room in the heart chakra, to clear that space up. We will send energetically our paper into the fire to burn and purify with all the others that are sending in their pain and their loss and opening up their space. We are all together. We share this energy. We create more space in our heart chakras and send peace to wherever we can. All right, I want you to take a slow breath in and release. We are going to be saying goodbye to all of those people that we have joined with this fire. Start to wiggle your fingers. Take another deep breath in. You can release out that old emotion, no longer serving you. Another deep breath in. Cleansing, light, bright energy. And blow out all of the emotions that you no longer are allowing to block your energies. Okay, we are going to be coming back in, and I'm going to be welcoming everyone back. Here we go. And we are returning back in. So, wow, it's just such a lovely opportunity when it's Leo, because it's so heart space and so loving energy, and we can bring ourselves back to that center in our own bodies. So we are going to go ahead and take our paper, and I am very fond of ripping mine up before I light it up. So feel free to do that as well. I have my water bowl very handy. Sometimes you're not allowed to burn where you're at, so you might want to just rip. Sari is like, yes, I can burn it up. So I am actually in that process of ripping my paper for my release. I love this energy. It is so satisfying. I may do this a couple more times. And I have my fire ignited here. Ooh! There we go. I managed to release it before I got my fingers burnt this time, so I'm very proud of myself. It's still burning a little bit in the water, so it's like getting it all out. Getting it all out. All right. So if we are done with that, I want to go ahead and get that last piece burnt, Sari. Get that last one. So we are going to go ahead and close this ceremony. I do want to thank the archangels for being a part of this and being supportive of everything that we've been able to do. Like I said, I do have my 3 candles that are lit, and I have my carnelian that is right here as part of that fire energy. So please come back and utilize this, especially over the next couple of days, because we have big energies that are going to be coming in. And you may find that right beforehand, you might just want to do another burn and release before we have the eclipse energy happening on the 17th. We do have a lot of things coming in and things starting at 0 degrees of Aries. So Valentine's Day should be very interesting for everyone, because it's just another one of those big astrology things that are happening in our lives, pushing us forward into where our paths belong. So with that, I will go ahead and start blowing out my candles, and please feel free to blow out yours. Anytime I do a ritual, my biggest thing is lighting a candle, because it shows a beginning and an ending to the ceremony. So I always utilize candles for that reason, and the beautiful fire energy that it brings in. But I had to use 3, being that it's a fire sign, I had to have plenty of fire. So with that, plenty of smoke. With that, thank you so much for joining us. And I'm going to say goodbye for now. And please join us on Wednesday when we do our lives. And we will also, please hit like and subscribe, because we always do these moon ceremonies. And this is a great way for you to get notified of that. So thank you very much. And we will see you again very soon. Bye.